All right, the first step for our linoleum printmaking is going to be practicing some positive and negative space drawings. These are some different examples. You have 8 boxes on this handout here that you are going to be drawing some positive, negative space designs. I'm going to show you mine. It's still a work in progress, but just to kind of give you some ideas. Notice how I am kind of trying to create a balance of white and dark or black areas to create that balance of both positive and negative space. So here it says you're drawing a different design in each box using line and shape. You're welcome to draw realistically or abstractly. I kind of did this abstract eye. I have this kind of cool diamond shape, and then on the back side here I've started to just do some simple lines and shapes and patterns all together that's a little more abstract or non-objective. And then it says your goal is to have 50% positive and 50% negative space in each square design. Use Sharpie or ebony pencil to fill in areas as needed. Take your time on these designs. Eventually you will use one of them for your printmaking. So I'm actually going to, I think, just start with, let's do this one. I'm going to start with this design here as my example. I know I'm not done, but I want to show you kind of your next steps. These are the linoleum blocks that you're going to get, and this is what we're going to be carving when we are making our stamp. So each student will get one of these. There's a front and a back side. You only get one, so please make it count. And before you really get into using your design, what I recommend doing is taking an ebony pencil or a darker leaded pencil, something like a 6B or an 8B pencil, and just going over your pencil lines to really darken the lead. And if you use Sharpie, you'll just go over your Sharpie with this lead. And the reason for that is because we are going to use this as a transfer to transfer our design onto our block. And I'm going to show you how that works. There we go. I might even just do something like that. Add on to that. So notice how, I don't have a whole lot of blank areas. There's some areas that aren't carved, but I have some areas that are dark, some that are light. I have those lines in there. And this is going to transfer to my block. Now what I'm going to do, just to make it a little easier on myself, because I'm not worried about my other designs at this point. You're still going to do them, but once you have all 8, you're going to choose your best one. I'm going to cut out this shape here very carefully, and this is the right size for the linoleum block. Now your linoleum block is a piece of rubber essentially that you're going to be carving. I'm going to set this aside, and you're going to have a front and a back side. The back side is a little rougher, the front side is a little smoother, so you're looking for the smooth side, and if you aren't sure you can always call me over. I'm just going to double check. I think this one is the smooth side. Here we go. I have my design here, and from here I'm actually going to just set it down onto the block ever so carefully, and I'm just going to hold it in place. I don't want to shift it now, and I'm going to burnish now. So I'm going to take my fingers, I'm going to burnish, and sometimes it helps to grab a tool like a scissors. I'm just going to use that instead of your fingers for burnishing. And as I'm burnishing, you're going to see it's starting to transfer to my linoleum block. And this is how we get our design onto the block without having to totally redraw it. And then you know everything's in the right place. Come over here. Really not moving the paper. I'm just kind of burnishing with my scissors here. I'm going to move this over a little bit. Go this way. Always kind of double check, see how it's looking. It's looking pretty good. I might just take my finger here. That's why the darker leaded or softer leaded pencil works so well, because it's that soft lead and it just sticks really nicely to that linoleum. Pick that up, that's pretty good. You just need enough to start carving, and then we will start. Now when you're doing the carving part, that's where you kind of have to stop and think for a minute. Are you going to carve the areas that are dark, or are you going to carve the areas that are light? Keeping in mind that whatever your design is, the part you're carving will be the color of the paper that you're printing on. This is pretty good. Okay, so as an idea, let's say I want these parts of my design to be dark. I want them to have a color or something. These dark areas, if I wanted them to have the color that isn't the color of the paper, like white for example, I would not carve the dark areas. I would only carve the light areas. So here's my block. and we're going to start carving in just a minute here. Okay, so here are the carving tools, and these are called linocutters, and these are really nice because you can switch out these little blades in back and forth. You can also just, you know, grab one that's a smaller one or a larger one, and it's got this little like U shape or smiley face shape. You can slide it in, and if it doesn't slide in, you just have to loosen it up a little bit. Usually slide it in to hold it. Be careful because these are a little bit sharp, and then you just rotate it like this to secure it in place. So this is a fairly large gouge. So this is a U gouge. We also have some that are a little more finer tip. This is a finer one. This is a nice large one as well. And you'll find sometimes as you're using these that some just won't cut as well as other ones. So if you get one that's not really cutting or not working for you, you can bring it on over and we'll switch it out for a different one. Because I don't want you to struggle too much with the carving part. It shouldn't take that long to carve out your design. Rotate it like that. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to start with a fairly large gouge because I know I'm going to be cutting out the areas that are white or blank in this case. Now, as you're carving, it's always a good idea to carve away from you, and since we're working fairly small, that can be a little bit tricky. So a good rule of thumb is, you know, as you're carving, like whatever direction you're going, just keep in mind where your fingers are. So I'm going to kind of hold it in the corner over here as I start here, and I'm holding my lino cutter at an angle, and I'm just going to slowly go along this straight line and just start cutting out that linoleum. And I'll go again next to it and just continue carving away the linoleum. You might even have to go the other direction, just carving away. Notice how I'm going slow. I'm not rushing this. I want to make sure I'm getting all of the pieces I want carved away and not leaving anything behind. All of these little stringy things, I'm going to throw these away. My cutter's cutting really well so far, so this is a good sign. I'm going to go along this edge and see how I'm kind of rotating the block. That way I'm not going to accidentally gouge my finger if I slip. It's very common to slip with these gouges, with these lino cutters, and we don't want to slip and accidentally cut ourselves. I'm going to get this middle part here. Sometimes it helps too to kind of see, like take a look at it from an angle. So I know it's hard to see in the video here, but you can kind of see based on, like if I hold it at an angle, like, okay, I got quite a bit carved there, but there's a couple places I missed. I'm gonna go along the edge here. And you'll find when you do your printmaking, when you start printing, you'll find you might have some areas that are a little bit higher up that you need to still carve down later on. So again, I'm only carving the areas that are white. I'm gonna leave all of these darker areas behind. And it's okay that it kind of stained my linoleum. This one I kind of made a little mistake, so I'm just gonna touch that up a little bit. The tricky part with this is if you gouge too much, there's no really going back or changing your mind. I'm going to change my gouge to a V gouge. There we go. The nice thing about this assignment too is that eventually we're going to stamp this multiple times by rotating it. It'll create kind of a cool effect. Excuse me. As I sneeze. And these little boogers, whatever you want to call them, the little linoleum boogers, we just throw those away. So you just toss those when you're done carving. And so on and so forth. So I'm going to keep doing this, and then the next video I will show you how to do inking.